Hey guys, it's Elena.
And it's Candace.
And you're listening to Cousins on Crime.
Oh yeah, it's hot. We're melting.
It is so hot.
I saw something the other day that said Texas is just preheating, and I'm like, yeah, it's true.
Why'd you
remind me?
It's too hot,
but it's gonna get hotter.
Yeah, it is.
Unfortunately.
So just 2 nights ago, it was like 75 degrees, and it was amazing outside.
Yeah.
So,
but that's Texas for you.
Mm-hmm.
We're fickle over here. I mean, you just can't predict.
Yeah.
I would never want to be a meteorologist in Texas. I'd be like, I'll move to like any northern state where if there's a chance of snow, it's probably going to snow.
Yeah. Well, yeah, there should always be a disclaimer. It's going to rain,
exactly.
But it might not.
But it's Texas. That should be the disclaimer.
Yeah, exactly. I think that's a given.
Yeah, exactly.
So what you been up to?
Just the same old. Poppy gets her cast off on Friday.
Yay!
Which is in 4 days. 4 days. 4 days. I can't wait. I am more excited than she probably is.
Oh, I'm sure. She doesn't
really we've told her and she's like excited.
Yeah. She's going to keep expecting the attention probably.
Well, she is the baby of the family, so she gets it and she knows how to.
Oh, yeah.
But yeah, it's just she's, like I've mentioned before, she complains about that left knee. It's really strange because she had that full cast going down to her ankles. And once she got her short cast, which it's like shorts instead of pants, she's always complained about that left knee.
Huh.
I don't know. It's strange, but she still complains about it. And I think it's aches and pains or, we've had it checked out by the doctor.
She's still growing. Wrong. So maybe some kind of growing pain.
Yeah. And, I had leg aches.
Mm-hmm.
I've mentioned that before. Like I remember as a kid having leg pain all the time. I feel like. I feel like I was always having growing pains or just leg aches,
Yeah.
I still do. So maybe she's experiencing some of that and it's feeling like knee pain to her. I don't know.
We'll give her some pickles. We'll get her hydrated.
I had her drink pickle juice last night, which is funny. And she did. So, it's just
Did she like
things. It? Yeah, she does. She likes pickles. So it's just one of those things that I feel like once she gets her cast off, she's not going to walk right away. I think she's going to be reluctant to walk.
I'm sure.
Daisy, on the other hand.
She's ready.
She's trying to crawl
out
of her bed.
Girl.
Like a spider. You should see her. She's got her legs spread in the cast and she's crawling up the side like a spider.
Dragging herself around.
Yes. She's insane. They're going to cut that thing off of her and she's going to fly across the room. I'm serious.
So are they going to be doing any physical therapy?
Yes, we'll have to do physical therapy, especially for Poppy. So
yeah,
it's going to be a process and I'm excited to get the cast off, but I think in a way it's going to be starting a whole new
learning to walk kind of thing.
Learning to walk. And then it's when do we potty train? Because that's got to happen soon.
So many next steps.
So many drugs that I think about.
Oh, stop.
Anyways, I say it every episode that I just want to do drugs or smoke cigarettes.
But no, you don't.
Every time I walk out of somewhere and someone's smoking a cigarette, right outside, I'm like, I just want to ask them for one. But you can't do that these days because fentanyl.
It might be late. You're right.
So,
oh my goodness,
I'm just gonna go buy my own pack someday.
No, you're not. Stop it. We need you here for those girls. Okay.
No, I'll just cling to my fake ones that I have.
Yeah, keep doing that. Yikes.
Yeah. How have you been?
Good. Busy. Actually, this last 4 days was very relaxing. Like I didn't have, so I took off work on Friday and I was able just to work the full day on my story, on my case.
Wow.
So that was, I'm like, maybe I should take a day off every week to work on my case. Cause that was very nice to have the time to just sit but I can't be taking off work that much. So
just quit your job.
I would love to.
Quit your job, join our Patreon, and she can quit her job.
Yeah. Pay me and I will.
Yeah.
No, but it's good.
Yeah, it's tough to squeeze in that research, but I'm glad you had a relaxing day of, some murderous research.
Yeah. So, we're celebrating your birthday tomorrow.
What? Happy birthday to me.
Celebrating your birthday.
By the time you're listening to this, I'll be 39.
That is, you're still a baby.
Yeah. Oh, well.
You're baby with babies.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's going to be fun. We're going to have some
Mexican food.
Yeah. And are we sitting outside on the patio, the gorgeous patio?
If it's not too hot. What's the weather going to be like tomorrow? Let's see. Sunshine, high of 91.
Oh.
So
we might want to sit inside.
Oh.
I don't know. They have fans and stuff. No, the last time I went and ate on the patio, it was blazing hot and the fans didn't do anything. I was sweating sitting there eating.
Dang you, July birthday.
That's not comfortable. So, okay, enough small talk. Yeah. We'll get right into it. You may have heard this case. This is one of the few cases that I have researched that was actually reported on a lot. There was a lot of reports and podcasts, news coverage. Yeah. So this is a story of how something tragic can happen in your life. And you have to ask yourself, how do I let this affect me? Do I choose to be a better person and learn from the tragedy, or do I let it fuel into something worse? This really is a tragic and sad case. It's a roller coaster. So buckle up. And disclaimer, this episode does involve sexual assault. Part of the episode does involve a child. And we will talk about him first. So if you do not want to hear about it, now is the time to exit. So Steve Stayner was born on April 18th, 1965. Does that ring a bell to you?
No, okay. Not yet.
He was born to Delbert and Kay Stayner. He was the third of 5 children. He had 3 sisters and an older brother. The family lived in Merced, California. On December 4th, 1972, at age 7, Stephen was on his way home from school when he was approached by a man named Irvin Murphy. It was later confirmed that Irvin was acquainted with a man named Kenneth Parnell. They were co-workers at a resort in Yosemite National Park. Irvin was described by those who knew him as a trusting, naive, and simple-minded man.
Never a good combination.
No, we've heard these cases. But he was hired by Kenneth to help him abduct a young boy. Kenneth's intent was to raise him as his own.
What?
He's like, I'm going to give you some money if you'll just go get me a little boy. I want to raise him.
Listen, I've been there before. Okay. I've been desperate to have a child before, and thoughts like that have crossed my mind.
Yeah.
But then,
to actually do it and enlist someone else to.
Yeah, no. Mm-mm.
I mean, come on. As instructed by Kenneth Parnell, Irvin passed out religious tracts to boys walking home from school. Yeah.
Ugh.
So that day when he saw Stephen Stayner, he walked up to him and asked him if his mother would be willing to donate any items to the church. When Stephen replied that, yeah, she would, Irvin then asked Stephen, where he lived and if he would be willing to take him home to show him. Stephen agreed. At about that time, Kenneth pulled up next to him, or next to both of them, driving a white Buick. Stephen willingly climbed into the car with them, and Kenneth drove away. Stephen was confused as they drove away from his home.
Right.
And he's like, this isn't the direction. Where are we going? So they end up driving up to Kenneth's home instead. At 7 years old, he's confused and probably so frightened that he didn't realize that Kenneth's home was located only several hundred feet from his mom's father.
Oh my gosh.
Originally, he was held by his abductor 38 miles away from his family home in Mariposa County. And later, Kenneth moved them to Mendocino County, which was about 275 miles from his family home.
Wow.
Stephen asked many times to go home, but Kenneth told him, I know. Kenneth told him that he now had legal custody of him because his parents could not afford so many children, and that they did not want him anymore.
Oh my God. That's
so awful. Kenneth began calling Stephen Dennis. He changed his name to Dennis Gregory Parnell. He kept Stephen's real middle name and his real date of birth when enrolling him in various schools over the next several years.
Oh my Lord Jesus.
Kenneth acted as Stephen's father and frequently moved around California. At one point, Stephen was allowed to start drinking and smoking and was able to come and go as he pleased.
I cannot believe he stayed in California.
Right.
That is some cojones right there.
I know.
Wow.
But I guess he thought, if I just move from place to place, I don't know.
Wow.
I know.
That's so brazen to me.
Agreed. Yeah. So as the years went by, Kenneth would start traveling for work, leaving Stephen alone and unsupervised. During the day, Kenneth would work and Stephen would go to school, but when they were home, Stephen would be sexually, emotionally, and mentally abused.
No.
Kenneth would tell him that his family no longer wanted him and that he was adopted, and he eventually started telling him that his parents died.
Oh, no.
And that's part of the reason that he didn't try to escape.
Yeah.
Thinking that his family didn't want him and not knowing where to go.
Since he was 7.
Right.
He's been told that.
Exactly.
He probably believed it.
Yeah.
Okay, well, they're not coming for me.
Yeah. I mean, people are like, well, why didn't you try to leave? I'm 7, bro.
I know. And he's been conditioned.
Yeah.
Oh, bless him.
Yeah. He did acknowledge that it would have been easy for him to just leave at those times when Kenneth was gone, but he didn't know how to summon help.
Mm-hmm.
At one point, Kenneth brought home a dog, a Manchester Terrier, that he named Queenie. This dog had been given to Kenneth by his mother. Now, his mother did not even know about Stephen being at Kenneth's house. When Stephen was 9, a woman named Barbara Matthias, doesn't matter, lived with Kenneth and Stephen for about 18 months. Barbara would participate with Kenneth while sexually assaulting Stephen. Right.
A plague, both your houses.
Mm. In 1975, Kenneth talked Barbara into abducting another young boy. The boy that they had their eyes set on was he was in the Santa Rosa Boys Club with Stephen. Mm-hmm.
All these years later?
Right.
Oh my gosh.
Well, it was 1975. Yeah, about 9 years old. So 2 years later, but yeah.
Oh my goodness.
Yeah. And he's in the boys club with him. That tells you he didn't, he's just letting him go make friends. That's
right.
He did not care. He did not think he was.
And to think that all of California is probably looking for this child.
Exactly. his
and
face.
He's right there under their noses.
Yeah. But his name is Dennis now, so he's not going to get caught.
Lord.
I mean, seriously.
Wow.
The attempt, though, that Barbara made in abducting this little boy was not successful. I don't know how she did it. I didn't.
Well, thank goodness
see
she's
that
an
report.
idiot.
When later questioned, Barbara said that she was completely unaware that Dennis had been kidnapped and that his real name was Stephen.
Irrelevant.
Yeah.
You nasty.
Yeah. As Stephen got older, Kenneth started to look for a younger boy to kidnap. He's like, you're going through puberty. I don't need you anymore.
Ew.
Yeah. He made Stephen attempt to kidnap a few times, but it didn't work out. And Stephen actually said he would actually fail on purpose to kidnap these boys.
And he's probably thinking in his mind, wait a minute.
Yeah.
Like as he's getting older, he's probably putting all these puzzle pieces together and going, hang on a second.
You're exactly right. Kenneth then enlisted Randall Poorman, a teenage friend of Stephen's, to do the job.
What is with people?
Right. They're like, okay.
Sounds good. This is literally Denali Brimmer and all of her weirdo people that she convinced all over again. Why do people agree to this kind of behavior? I don't
money.
get this.
I mean, he was telling him he was going to pay him to do this, and I think,
Please, I don't.
It's not worth it, y'all.
I'm just so like people. I don't get it.
No.
We won't get it.
We won't.
And that's the thing. We will not get it.
No. So on February 14th of 1980, they kidnapped 5-year-old Timothy White.
Jesus.
In Ukiah, California.
My God.
Yeah. So at 14 years old now, Stephen couldn't take it any longer. He couldn't stand the thought of Timothy going through what he himself went through. He wanted to get Timothy back to his family. And so on March 1st, 1980, he managed to escape with Timothy. That night, Kenneth was at work at his night security job.
Oh,
he's a security
Lord.
officer. Really? Stephen packed up what he needed. He and Timothy left the house and hitchhiked to Ukiah.
Oh my goodness.
Stephen tried locating Timothy's family home, but couldn't find it himself. And so they went to a police station. And the morning of March 2nd, Kenneth was arrested on suspicion of abducting both boys.
My butt cheeks are so clenched right now. I feel like, oh my goodness gracious.
Yeah. 14 years old. He's like, okay.
That's it.
Yeah. 7 years. So both children were reunited with their families that day.
Oh, blessed.
Mm-hmm. Kenneth was tried and convicted in 2 separate trials in 1981. He was sentenced to 7 years.
Excuse me?
Mm-hmm. Speechless. 7 years. I guess 7 years for keeping Stephen. So
1 for every year that he kept him away from his family?
No, unacceptable.
Disgust.
Well, you're not going to like the next part.
Stop.
He did parole out after 5 years. Mm-hmm. How's that for justice?
I am without words.
Mm-hmm. Kenneth was not charged with the numerous sexual assaults.
Are you kidding me?
No, because most of them occurred...
Too much paperwork?
For lack of better words. Because, most of them occurred outside of the jurisdiction of the Merced County prosecutor.
Get a life.
Where he was tried. Yeah.
There are ways to add charges from other counties, my friend.
In 1981, laws have changed, but
I am so disgusted.
Surely. And so by then, it was outside the statute of limitations. Not just that, they wanted to protect Stephen's reputation by not putting it out there in the open. Like, it can go in a courtroom and and not...
Let that be up to Stephen and his family.
Yes, please. Maybe it was. Maybe they asked them and I don't know. The Mendocino County prosecutors, where the sexual assaults happened, decided not to prosecute for the sexual assaults that occurred. Don't have a reason why. Just like you said, probably too much paperwork.
Gosh.
In 2004, Kenneth, at 72 years old, was arrested yet again.
You don't say.
He was convicted of trying to persuade and hire his caretaker's sister.
Oh, for God's sake, this guy.
For $500.
My Lord.
To kidnap and bring him a young boy. She knew of his past and she reported this to local police. And Timothy testified in the trial after he was arrested for that. Stephen's previous testimony was read to jurors as evidence in the 2004 trial. He didn't get to speak himself. While serving his sentence of 25 years to life at this time.
Good grief. Just for attempt.
Attempt, right.
I can't believe this. Like, where do they get these, like...
Well, now it's 2004, so...
Okay, all right. We've progressed. I get it. Okay.
Kenneth Parnell, while serving, Kenneth died of natural causes, warm in his bed. Probably not. Disgusting. I don't know. On January 21st of 2008. So really, he only was there for 4 years and kicked the can. So yeah, Irvin Murphy and Randall Poorman were convicted of lesser charges for assisting in the kidnappings. Stephen spoke of the kindness that Uncle Murphy had shown him in his first week of captivity. He believed that Irvin Murphy was as much a victim as he and Timothy were. What a sweetheart.
I don't know what to say.
Yeah.
I literally, I can't form a thought about that.
But for that's Stephen, a 7-year-old mind, saying he felt like he was just as much a victim. Like, it's so sad. Stephen had trouble adjusting to a more structured family household.
I bet he did. Mm-hmm. The poor thing.
For the last 7 years, he had been allowed to smoke and drink and do as he pleased.
Goodness gracious.
In an interview with Newsweek shortly after his escape, Stephen said, "I returned almost a grown man, and yet my parents saw me at first as their 7-year-old little boy."
That's so tough.
After they stopped trying to teach me the fundamentals all over again, it got better. But why doesn't my dad hug me anymore?
Oh my gosh. No.
My heart. He said, "Everything has changed. Sometimes I blame myself. I don't know sometimes if I should have come home."
Oh my gosh. I'm so hurt.
I know. My heart breaks. He said, "Would I have been better off if I didn't?" He did go to some counseling, but did not seek additional therapy. In an interview in 2007, one of his sisters said that he did not seek counseling because their father said he didn't need any.
What?
Who's
this dad?
I don't know of the dynamics other than...
So do we know about what his relationship was like with his dad before he went missing?
I didn't read a whole lot into it just because I have so much other information.
I feel like news outlets are not as concerned about talking about that kind of thing.
Yeah, I'm like what makes a person
tell
tick.
Me and tell me about the family dynamic and stuff like that.
Right,
but
right.
That's heartbreaking that he did not have the support that he needed.
Yeah.
After he returned home.
Yeah. I mean, and we'll get into something else here in a minute, where you'll
I don't know how there's more.
Man.
I feel like the story ends here. How?
That's funny.
How could there be more?
I know. I wrote in my notes, I'm sure you probably think that the story is over.
Can it be over?
But
it's too much.
I know. So yes, this interview with his sister, she added, Stephen just got on with his life, but he was pretty messed up. Ugh. Stephen was bullied by other children at school for being molested. I guess it was all over the news, you know, and eventually he dropped out of school.
Oh my gosh.
He began to drink frequently and was eventually kicked out of his family home.
I can't believe this.
I know. In 1985, at 20 years old, Stephen, he got married to a 17-year-old Jody Edmondson. Together, they had 2 children, a daughter and a son, and he also worked with child abduction groups.
Wow.
He spoke to children about personal safety and gave interviews about his kidnapping. In a way, I feel like that's probably therapeutic.
Yeah. For sure.
And maybe he received more therapy within doing all of that.
Yeah.
So that makes me feel a little better.
I didn't have that support. I'd like to provide it to other people.
Absolutely. How great is that?
Yeah.
He joined the Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints and was living in Merced and working at a pizza shop. On September 16th of 1989, Stephen was on his way home from work on his motorcycle.
Stop. Don't look at me that way.
When a car turned in front of him and hit him.
No.
The person that hit him drove away from the scene. Stephen sustained head injuries and died.
Oh my God.
The driver of the car was later identified by witnesses. He was sentenced to 3 months in prison for a hit and run. But was found not guilty of manslaughter. So yeah, if you are involved in a hit and run, if you run, you're going to jail.
Yeah, but just for 3 months though.
Yeah.
Don't worry. Doesn't matter if someone dies. It's just 3 months.
Come on.
That is disgusting. This poor person has not received justice his whole entire life.
I know. It's one thing after another. That's what I'm saying. Tragic case. 500 people who cared about him attended Stephen's funeral. One of the pallbearers was Timothy White.
Oh, bless.
Oh, yeah.
His little brother almost.
Pretty much, yeah.
In a sick, nasty way.
I mean, Stephen was a hero for Timothy. So, of course, he's like, yeah, I'll go do that. He was 14 at the time.
Oh, my goodness.
At the time of the funeral. So, there is a book and a TV miniseries about this case called I Know My First Name is Stephen. Oh. So, I just like any other miniseries and Lifetime movies that are made of real life stories, I'm sure there's a lot of discrepancies. Yeah. So, you know, if you want to watch it.
And there's more? How can there be more after this? More. Like, I don't understand. Okay.
Yeah.
Wait, I gotta pee.
But I'm not even.
I gotta pee.
Okay. Yes, you do.
I'm back.
Okay.
We're back.
All right. One more little note in this section. Okay.
Oh, for God's sake.
I know. That's how I feel about this.
You're stressing me out. I feel like
okay.
You mentioned pizza. Now that's all I can think about. I don't know.
Okay. No laughing matter. Timothy went into law enforcement and became a deputy for Los Angeles County.
Okay.
So I guess he's like, hey, the events that have gone on in my life, it kind of led him to, as I said in the beginning,
he wants to be a protector, just like he had.
You have to think about how it's going to affect your life,
right?
Because you do have a choice.
That's right.
So he got married and had 2 children. His life was cut short, though.
Stop, Lena. I feel sick.
I know. I'm going to cry. He had a sudden pulmonary embolism and died at 35 years old. I'm telling you, it's a roller coaster.
My God. I don't know how much more I can take.
And this is the part in my notes where I say, you may be thinking the story's over, But wait, there's more.
I don't understand. Go on.
Okay, so
oh my gosh.
Let's talk about how this all affected Cary Stayner, who was Stephen's older brother. You want to talk about it?
I gotta know now.
Cary Stayner, he could not cope with life very well after this. It was said that Cary was supposed to be looking after his little brother when he was taken.
Oh, man.
There could have been some feelings of guilt there. I don't know. But also there was so much media attention on their family. Cary admitted that he felt neglected by his parents and probably jealous that all of the attention was on Stephen.
Yeah.
Then when Stephen died in the motorcycle accident, I mean, if Cary wasn't already a tormented soul,
right,
this just sent him on another level.
Yeah.
Cary had a difficult time finding his niche in life, but eventually took a job as a handyman at Cedar Lodge, a motel just outside of El Portal, entrance to Yosemite National Park.
Okay.
You would think that a person couldn't bear much tragedy, or much more tragedy than what I have already told you, but Cary would find himself as the cause of a whole new tragedy.
Oh, no.
There at Cedar Lodge, earning himself the title of the Yosemite serial killer.
I can't believe in a lot of ways the story is just beginning. Like my head is spinning right now.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh.
So with that, I'm going to leave you on this cliffhanger.
A
2-parter.
Oh my.
So.
Well, we're going to go so she can tell me the rest of the story. And then y'all will hear the rest of the story later.
Yeah. So stay on the edge of your seats, okay?
And if you're part of the fam on our Patreon, you can listen to part 2 right now. Oh baby.
You know you want to.
That's what you get when you're part of the fam.
That's right.
So, well, that was great. Let's definitely do this again.
We're going to.
Okay. Bye, guys.
Bye, y'all.
Thank you for listening to Cousins on Crime. Get connected with us by becoming a free member on our Patreon. Or for just $5 a month, you'll have access to bonus episodes, discussion groups, and much more. If you can't afford $5 a month, we get it. Inflation, am I right? Please consider leaving us a positive review and rating wherever you listen.
And don't forget merch. Support our podcast and show the love by sporting t-shirts with our latest designs, or grab an evidence bag to keep the chain of custody for all your valuables. Don't forget to follow our show on your favorite streaming app so you never miss an episode, and get photos and updates on our Instagram at Cousins on Crime Podcast or our Cousins on Crime Facebook page. Have a case suggestion? Email us at cousinsoncrime@gmail.com.